How's it going, guys? So I'm here with your Smackdown review, but before we get started, big shout out to General Jerry on doing a great video on JD. Now, I don't normally get into a lot of drama here. You know, I used to a little bit just for fun, just for comedy's sake, just to make people laugh. And I brought up JD every now and again just so it gets a pop out of the audience, you know, here on this YouTube channel. But this is just a hilarious story, so I just have to take a few moments, so bear with me of recounting this. So, JD does a super chat. Now, I'm not against, you know, anyone trying to make a little bit of money in this crazy world, and this is that guy's job, and he does, like, some commentary for some promotion, you know. So, JD, yeah, he's got a bit of a hustle. Is he a brown noser? Is he an ass kisser? He is. But, you know, whatever, if you want to be in the wrestling business, the guy has somehow weaseled his way in there. You know, and what he does, you know, does he have a bit of a personality? Yeah, I'm not going to say that he's boring, but, you know, I at one time used to do a lot of shouting and people still demanded that from me, but it came a time where I just needed to buckle down and kind of, you know, find what I wanted to do here on YouTube. And while it was fun yelling and shouting and stuff, doing my earlier wrestling videos and reviews, I kind of strayed away from that. You know, I do it every now and again. I get upset, but I was like, I wanted to kind of bring my personality out more in these videos, more than sort of doing an over-the-top, you know, caricature of myself. Some of those opinions I might have held at that time, a lot of that, you know, I kind of wanted to drift away from looking like a mark, looking like someone like JD, because I saw other people doing it, and it really had an effect on me, and I saw like how it looked. Now, I might have been doing it in a more humorous fashion. When JD does it, you know, he is doing it to get a rise out of his audience, but he's also kind of serious. I think you could see a difference in the way I used to joke around and, you know, make fun of John Cena promos and, you know, different things on the show. But when JD gets into a rant like on Zelena Vega, like he hates Zelena Vega. Now, I might say that Zelena Vega is, you know, not a very good wrestler and things like that, and I could say, like, you know, I don't think her promos are good, but I don't like curse her name and say, I don't want anything to do with this girl. She's dead to me. Right? He actually said that, like she is dead to him, like he personally knows her or something, and he doesn't. And he's had wrestlers like tell him to shut his mouth, and you all know how I feel about wrestlers even, you know, talking to other people on YouTube, you know, on social media who are like far below them, like people like JD. But anyway, you know, so I try to stay away from that style, and once in a while I come back to it for fun, and so that's kind of the reason why I don't want to look like someone like that. But anyway, JD gets a super chat, and there's nothing wrong with super chats. I'm not going after super chats or anything like that. I have a Patreon. I make no bones about it. People ask that I make a Patreon. I didn't just make one. And the people that contribute, you know, I did certain things with the money that is contributed on Patreon, and I don't make it. I barely even mention it here on YouTube, by the way. So I just want to make a disclaimer in case anyone like wants to bring that up. I link it below. I don't even say it in my videos. What I do is in the end credits, I give credit to the people and I say thanks to them, and they're all great people. They're all great subscribers. They always comment, and I appreciate them. But at any time, if these people like didn't want to contribute, you know, I'm not gonna like, you know, curse them out or anything. You know, some people did contribute, they didn't anymore. There was a guy who, you know, used to promote me very, very heavily. His name was like YouTube expert or something, and I'm not calling him out or anything like that. This was like a few years back. He would tell me, he would message me on Patreon and tell me what he wanted to do. And he was being a bit of like a bully about it. And the thing is, he was only giving me $1. And, if you contribute even 50 cents, it means a lot to, that you even want to give me that much. Give me money to buy a fucking bag of pretzels at the vending machine. You know what I mean? So I am not going to diss anybody for the amount that's contributed or anything like that. But this guy was, being a bully and everything. And he says, because you're not doing my requests, and people came to my defense and said, he has a life and everything. He has a job outside of YouTube. This is not his job. It's a hobby. And, this guy made a whole big post, a huge ass paragraph. And see, that's the thing about Patreons. That's the thing about giving people money. They take it to heart. So that's why I don't really go too full force with the Patreon. But there's some great people like Paulie, A. Fonte, who, are consistent contributors, and they mean the world to me, and they're great people. I talk to them on social media. I know some of these people, and they're just great people. Paulie is one of them. But aside from that, though, we go to the situation with JD, and this guy, this motherfucker, and there's the word if we haven't said it in a while here on this channel, this guy right here, this guy, so he gets a super chat from somebody, and they say, oh, what do you think about General Jerry and Zubair? Yeah, even mention old Zoobs. Two guys I'm a major fan of. Zubair, I met in real life when I was actually going to pick up my college transcript. I actually met him on the way out. I was going back because I had to go give it to a job that wanted my transcript on file. And so, I met him. We stood there talking for an hour outside the college, and it was a great time. We talked wrestling, we talked life. It was good stuff. Zubair is an amazing person. I might not mention him enough for anything like that, but that's only because we've been talking about other stuff. But people like Zubair deserve all the credit in the world, because I can attest to the fact that this guy is a great guy. He recognized me coming out of the college. He respectful, talking to me, and it was like we knew each other for years. And you see him on YouTube, and the guy does great content. He's funny and everything. He's got a gimmick. He puts his quilt on, his robe and everything. He's hilarious. You can just, like I said, this is a great guy. He gets the seal of approval from me. General Jerry, I've obviously he doesn't live in this country, so I don't know him, but I have messaged with him in the past, and he's a great person from what I see. He's killing it in the gym. This is another great guy as far as I can see. I don't know him like Zoobs, meeting him in person, but they're both great content makers. They both are people that I personally subscribe to, people that I both personally watch. I'm going to make it more of a point to, actually, this has now kind of more inspired me to want to comment on their vids more, to let them know regularly how good they are, even though we interact on Facebook from time to time. But two great people. Now, JD, you look at this guy, and you just downright know that the guy is a fucking asshole, without a fucking doubt. Right? So, okay. And the reason why I'm doing this here, part of the SmackDown review to kick this off, is because if I do it as a standalone video, I don't want it getting flagged or anything like that, because I'm just talking about it honestly, because that's how he acted. It's not a personal attack or anything like that, so I don't get any bad ideas or anything about that. I don't know JD personally, but I'm saying the general consensus for most people who are not subscribers of him, they don't like him. This guy has an ego. Do I get on here? Does General Jerry, does Zubair get on their channels and go, I'm the best in the whole YWC? Ugh! Like, holy shit. The man has an ego the size of the entire country. Holy cow. The size of, like, the whole entire planet. I mean, holy shit. This guy, like, you know, I'm not saying the guy is a bad YouTuber, but he's a shit talker, he's a shit starter, and he thinks that he's the best, and that his shit don't stink. You're not the best. You're far from the best. Are you telling me you're better than Wrestling with Regret, for example? Who the guy is a giant smark, but he's very entertaining. And his videos are very well made. Are you saying you're better than him? Because you're not. You're definitely not better than Wrestling with Regret. I can tell you that. A Simon Miller What Culture video, who is the only good What Culture member, his videos are way more entertaining. But anyway, JD going after these two guys. So a super chatter to get back on track, because there's just so much to talk about here. But let's get to the end of it so we can get to the SmackDown review. So Super Chatter asks him what he thinks of General Jerry and Zoobs. And what does he say? He goes, these people, he says, you know, he says these are like the lowest of the low. He says they're fucking idiots. And just, it calls them every name in the book. Calls them every name in the fucking book. Right? Okay, so like he don't know General Jerry from a hole in the wall. He don't know Zoobs from a hole in his ass. Right? Okay, so with that said, then he tells his super chatter who gave him money. So this is just so hilarious to me. And I commented this to General Jerry on both on Facebook and Wrestling Gods when Scott Casey Gale was the first one to post up, so credit for him even bringing it to all our attention in the first place. Bringing it to General Jerry's attention, bringing it to Zubair's attention, and as far as I know, Zoobs hasn't even commented on it yet. I'm looking forward to his response to it. I was not mentioned. I don't think JD has ever mentioned me. You know, I very lightly mention him in the videos. I think anyone could just attest to that. I've never done a huge rant. People requested me to do a rant on JD, ranting on Alexa Bliss. I didn't do it because I know that there's idiots who will, like, you know, flag it as like hate speech and stuff like that. So I ain't gonna do that. Okay. So if anyone wants to wonder why it's so I can have a good channel and keep this following and not lose the channel, so that's why. And plus, I don't really enjoy ranting on people. I wanna be here and talk about wrestling because I love it so much. Ah! Okay, so that's but anyway, so he bashes the shit out of these guys who are great guys, as I just mentioned, and this guy, the super chatter, is paying JD to hear his opinion on two people. On two people the super chatter doesn't even know. I don't think he knows them. I don't see how he could. They live in two different countries. Okay? So with that in mind, you've got two people living in two different countries that he don't know. JD don't even know. But JD is saying that these people are terrible guys. And then he tells the super chatter, he threatens the super chatter that if you put that in the super chat, even if you give me money, that you super chat me and you talk about General Jerry and Zubair, I'm not going to read your super chat. So this guy has such an ego that this guy gave him money to just answer a simple question about General Jerry and Zubair. And not only does he act like an idiot and just totally torch General Jerry and Zubair in General Jerry gave it back to him tenfold. Knocked JD on his ass as far as I'm concerned. I mean, he called those insults. I mean, General Jerry basically sent JD packing. That was the biggest squash match of a response I've ever seen. That was like James Ellsworth going against Braun Strowman. That was like Goldberg squashing, I don't know, you name it in WCW, whatever. You pick the opponent. Anyway, so he tells this guy, I'm not going to read your super chat. So he threatens the guy who just gave him money like he's ever going to super chat him again. And the guy probably will. And he says that these guys don't cater to an audience. Like it's a positive trait to cater. Because me, I don't cater to anybody. General Jerry and Zubair are the same way. We're free speech people. We say what we want. We don't care if we offend people with our wrestling opinions. We say this one sucks. We like that guy. You know, someone says I like Jinder Mahal, right? I've propped the guy up for years on this channel. Plenty of people tell me Jinder Mahal sucks. You don't know how to wrestle, right? What you know? What do I do? Do I change my opinion on Jinder Mahal to satisfy the audience? No. And I'm sure there's people who unsubscribe because they disagree with my opinions on AEW. I know for a fact a lot of people unsubscribed when I started making AEW videos because I didn't bow down to the almighty Tony Khan. Right? Right. So, this guy just made a total fool out of himself. And, yeah, I think he's a moron. I really do. Anyway, so with that said, I hope you all enjoyed that little rant in the beginning to get things started, but let's jump into the SmackDown review because that's enough about JD. I like talking about General Jerry and Zubair because they're great people, and I like to defend them. I don't think they really need defending because I'm sure Zubair is going to do a fine enough job if he chooses to respond to JD. General Jerry already tore him apart in epic fashion. By the way, like I said, go subscribe to both guys. Go watch their videos. Go watch General Jerry's response to JD. I think you'll greatly enjoy it. If you like my videos and you've never seen General Jerry, you're definitely going to like it because it's a lot of the same style, I believe. Anyway, so we start off with Sasha Banks. No explanation where she's been. You know, we've got just no explanation at all. You know, we've got Bianca Belair then coming out. And she says, you know, you can afford to be gone for 4 months. No reason why. Nothing is said about why she's not there. She's not injured. They're not even using the vacation excuse that they're using for Zelena Vega. I mean, it's ridiculous. It really is. Like, we're sitting here... And she hasn't been there since WrestleMania after main eventing night 1. You main event night 1 of WrestleMania and you're not there for 4 months and then you just show up at total random. And the reactions that they were playing from last week, I mean, there's a 50-year-old man in the audience and there was a girl who was, you know, semi-attractive, not a bad-looking woman at all. And she's like, how are these people like reacting to like Sasha turning on Bianca? If it was even that much of like a turn at all, I don't know. But I sometimes wonder if these people are plants. But how could they all be plants? I think just some of these people, I don't know. The only thing I can write them off is just as goofballs. But I was really thinking to myself, I'm like, you know, am I a mark for like believing these reactions? Or is it just that these people, this is just how they are? People are weird. So I'm actually going to stay with that original opinion that these people are just reacting this way. So there's no, you know, there's nothing, no explanation or anything like this. And then we get Zelena Vega coming out. Zelena Vega's about to get in the ring, and Bianca Belair tells her not to get in the ring. So she says, I won't get in the ring. So she stands on the apron. Okay. So you're just... so you're going to actually listen. The heel is going to listen to the baby face. Don't get in the ring. Oh, okay, I won't. I'll just stand here. Oh, okay. So she's challenging Bianca to a match. We've got Sasha Banks standing up on the announce table. And we got Zelena Vega standing on the apron. So I don't know what the hell this is supposed to be. It looked really weird. And we've got Bianca telling Sasha, I'm going to see you at SummerSlam, but I'm going to see Zelena Vega tonight. And like, okay, so what? I don't get this. Like, you got old scrap heap Adam Pearce backstage with Sonya Deville, and these are the matchmakers, right? These are the whatever the officials, as they call them, not even commissioners or GMs or any of that fancy lingo, just officials. Okay, like, so they're not even making matches. What are they even good for? They're in the ring making their own matches. All these matches are being made. So Zelena Vega is going to see her later on tonight. Like, anyone would believe that Zelena Vega has a snowball's chance in hell of beating Bianca Belair when she couldn't beat Carmella, she couldn't beat Liv Morgan, she couldn't beat anybody. So, like, she's gonna beat the champion? Like, no, it's quite clear that she's not going to beat the champion. Okay, so that segment right there, I don't know what that was supposed to be, but that was just plain awful. I mean, that's how you kick off the show right there. Like, seriously, I am a madman for continuing to watch this show when this is how we start off the night. With this very amateurish exchange. I am just saying, and I know it's tiresome and I apologize, but it's so relevant that you don't even have to use the Attitude Era as an example. Just use the Ruthless Aggression Era as an example. The way they would kick off shows. Like, they'd make sure the opening promo was going to be a winner. They were going to always put their best foot forward. If you're not putting your best foot forward at the beginning of a show, then who the hell is going to continue to watch? Do they seriously believe that there's so many people that are going to be like, oh, I respect women so much, I'm going to continue to watch this absolute trash? Look, and I'm not saying that Bianca Belair is not a talented athlete. She definitely is. She's impressively strong. Does she look like a star? Yes. Do I think she should lose the weave, the hair extension? Yes, I do. Like I said, at least shorten that shit up a bit. But man, this is just abysmal. To start off the show, when we were starting off the show with Roman Reigns and interactions with the Usos, and now we're here? I mean, come on. I mean, honestly, guys, come on. Then we get Jey Uso defeating Dominic, and this was a pretty good match. I mean, honestly, Dominic, he's a good athlete. I've knocked the guy's appearance. I just can't get over the fact that his dad looks like such $1 million. He's getting older, Ray, and Ray still looks so great. And this guy, you've got his son Dominic. This guy's in his 20s, and he looks like absolute shit. I don't understand it. When you've got everyday people looking better than this. I mean, like, honestly, like look at this guy. And just look at your average Joe on the street. And your average Joe, 9 times out of 10, may look better. Just walk into a gym. Even the guy who's not jacked to the gills would still look better than Dominic. I'm just saying, is no one anywhere on the roster? I mean, no one on the roster, no one on the writing staff, Vince McMahon, Adam Pearce, any agent or whatever they call him nowadays saying to Dominic, Rey Mysterio's not saying to his own son? I don't know. I mean, the guy, to me, I think he does pretty well in the ring. And, you know, Jey Uso, I mean, this guy, I've said it. Every time I see Jey Uso in the ring, I think he's phenomenal. This guy has proved that not only is a great tag wrestler, but he's a great singles guy too. I mean, he proved himself in a match with Roman Reigns that he could actually be pretty convincing in a main event. I mean, the guy is great. But, you know, so Rey, you know, he saves Dominic from getting pushed off the top rope. Dominic gets distracted. He eats a super kick. Jey goes up for the splash. The match is over. And, you know, this is just, like, kind of tiresome already. We've had, like, how many tag matches with these guys? Now we're going to see it again at SummerSlam. Singles matches. Is now Rey Mysterio going to go one-on-one with Jey next week? Or is he going to go one-on-one with Jimmy next week? I mean, this is what we have to do. This guy wrestles. This guy, that guy wrestles. That guy. Like, they can't come up with any other interesting ways to build a tag title match than just have one guy wrestle the other guy on the team one week, and then the next week, and they do-si-do, and they mix and they match, and until they have all the possible combinations covered. And if we're really lucky, well, we might even get the Intercontinental Champion teaming up with the tag champs to challenge the challengers, right? Wow, what a concept. The originality is mind-blowing. Then we get Edge backstage cutting a promo, and I mean, who's this girl backstage? You know, I love and I hate when they do these like when they cut to the interviewer's face backstage, and you got Kayla Braxton, who's better, way better, but this new weird blonde girl with the, you know, Edge is saying that he's going to be like absolutely brutal to Seth Rollins, and you know, she has no expression. She's not even shocked. Nothing, you know, like why, I don't understand why we always pan to the interviewer and they sit in silence, and the last thing you see is the interviewer's face. Like a stone face. Looked like the face from Legends of the Hidden Temple. Just no expression. Just a soulless face. Like, you know, not even, well, thanks, Edge, for your time, or back to you at ringside. Like, just, you know, doesn't anybody watch tapes of Gene Okerlund? Even Terry Reynolds during the Ruthless Aggression era was 10 times, 20 times a better backstage interviewer. I mean, watch Coach, watch Todd Grisham. Todd Grisham was the best backstage interviewer, the last best backstage interviewer. Todd Grisham definitely was. I mean, seriously, the guy just carried himself very professionally, didn't make any stupid faces, reacted appropriately to the moment at hand. Can anyone go on the network on their phone and just watch one of these past interviews? Can any of those girls do that? I'm just saying, it's just like, it's kind of distracting and weird. More weird than anything. Mcafee comes out, and I gotta tell you, seriously, Pat McAfee has grown on me. I think this guy is hilarious. He's marking out once again for Boogs playing the guitar, and he gets up and he's got the shorts on, and Michael Cole says, "I'm glad you dressed up for the occasion." And he says, "Oh, it's like WrestleMania all over again." And this is obviously just in a long line of like ribs and jokes. When Pat McAfee was at WrestleMania a few years back, when he first came to the WWE, when he first started dealing with NXT and all that, and being like on pre-shows or whatever it was he did before he was a SmackDown commentator, Michael Cole yelled at him in front of everybody, and since then they apologized to one another, and Michael Cole, more appropriately apologized to McAfee. When you wear shorts like with a sports jacket, it looks really stupid. You see that all the time in Manhattan, in New York, and it looks stupid. It looks foolish. It looks dumb. It looks dorky. It looks nerdy. It looks goofballish to the umpteenth degree. But you don't yell at a guy. It's a wrestling show, right? Like, stop wearing shorts. Like, okay, but anyway, I thought it was funny, but it's really weird that they're doing these ribs where the casual viewer will not understand that remark. So are they doing that to get a rise out of each other? I don't understand why they do this stuff. They punish people on air. They make these jokes that are insider jokes, and no one is getting them. Only people who read the dirt sheets who knew about that would know about that. If I didn't watch Vince Russo's podcasts and I didn't hear Stevie Richards and Ben Hameen talking about that in the Disco Inferno, then I would have no idea what the fuck they were talking about. But I did, so I found it funny, and just Pat McAfee acting like a goofball was funny. But this is a championship contenders match. And I know we didn't review Raw, but on Raw they had the championship contenders match, which a lot of people are saying is something new, but it's something that they kind of did and they just didn't give it a name for a while. How many times have we seen non-title matches, right? A wrestler beats the champion, but it was non-title for no reason. They did this sometimes back in the day, but going back and watching just a lot of old Raws and Smackdowns again, I said I got back into the swing of watching the Attitude Era again, and very, very rarely would they have a non-title match. If the champion was in the match, 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, to be fair, he was defending his title. Same thing with the women's champion. If Ivory was in there, she was defending her title. Because you're a champion, why not? Why are you in the ring with someone who's not a contender to begin with? You see what I'm saying there? That's why it doesn't make any sense. So you're going to take the time out of your busy schedule to wrestle someone in a non-title match that doesn't even deserve to wrestle in the first place. What? So, but now it's official. Now it's called a championship contenders match. So this was an intercontinental contenders match. And of course, they make it look really confusing by having a picture of the belt. So any person who hasn't watched in a long time is just going to naturally assume that this is a title match. But it's not. It's a championship contenders match. How stupid, how moronic, how dumb, how retarded is it that you have to now beat the champion? You have to beat them in a contenders match and then beat them again. Could you imagine that if the build-up to WrestleMania 17, can you imagine, okay, well, that's maybe a bad example because Stone Cold won the Royal Rumble. I don't know. What's another example we could use here? Let's think here for a minute. Okay, Randy Savage and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, WrestleMania 3. Okay, there's a good example. Can you imagine if Ricky the Dragon Steamboat had to beat the Macho Man in a match before WrestleMania 3 so he can earn the right to face Macho Man for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania 3? If people saw that back in the day, they'd say, what the fuck is wrong with this show? Why are we watching the same match twice? Are we idiots? First of all, they wouldn't even say it because they wouldn't even watch it. People would just throw their hands up and be like, why are we watching a repeat? They'd probably think it was the same match and turn it off. I am just saying, how stupid is that? On Raw, you had Charlotte defeating Nikki ASH ASH. What a fucked up name that is. It's not even Nikki Ash. It's Nikki ASH. Just rolls right off the tongue, right? Jesus. So she beats her. Now she's got to beat her again at SummerSlam so she earned the right to wrestle. What happened to the rematch clause, or you know what I mean? Now it's the contenders. There's always something stupid. Enough with this absolute stupidity. Well, like, it just can't be anything organic. It's got to be manufactured. Oh, well, first you got to beat the champion, and then you got to beat him again. Like, come on. Stupid. Dumb. It sounds dumb, and from what I'm hearing, the people backstage don't even like it. Because it flies in the face of everything old school about wrestling. And it really shows, like, the build-up. Like, this is what they do all the time. Like with an Elimination Chamber. Let's put all the guys in the ring who are already going to be in the match, in a match, to build up for the match. That's going to have the same guys in it. Just to make it a little differently. Ooh, you see, because it's not an elimination. It's just stupid. No. And they would do this a lot of times in the past with the non-title match, but now they're making an official thing, which makes it 10 times dumber than it was originally. And then if it can't get any dumber, the match ends with a disqualification. So Mcafee technically won it. So you know how, like, a disqualification, the title can't change hands? So I noticed that at the end of this match, they didn't say if Mcafee earned the right to wrestle Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental Championship. So you're telling me that it's like under the same rules as the championship match, you don't earn the right to wrestle the Intercontinental Champion or wrestle the champion if you don't win the contenders match by pinfall or submit? What the fuck? Who the hell is writing this? Who came up with that rule? How dumb can you be? That's stupid. See, so now that I'm going to yell. Because that's just real. Watching this show and watching all the content, you can go back and watch the backlog on Peacock. It's never been like that. And with good reason. Because you don't want to annoy the shit out of your viewer with having the same match over and over. And it's like, who wants to watch Mcafee versus Apollo Crews twice? Just put your hand down. No, you don't want to see it. Like, you know, just ridiculous. Like, so you couldn't even have an actual finish in a contenders match. So it really makes sense to have a contenders match. Contenders match. Fuck out of here, man. Anyway, we've got Paul Heyman with Kayla Braxton, who I just put over and said she's the better backstage. She's not as annoying as the other ones. He turns around, Heyman, and Big E is waiting right there with the briefcase. Now, I know he's acting silly and everything, but that was funny. Big E, he's the only one out of these New Day goofballs where I actually like this guy's sense of humor. He didn't say a word. He just went, and he held the briefcase like right next to his head. I thought that was funny. It was unexpected. I thought it was some pretty good comedy. And I guarantee you he was the one who came up with that, not the brain dead writers. Anyway, we move on. We got Tegan Knox, who now's got her first name back, so she's not Knox anymore. She's Tegan Knox. Okay, great. She beats Tamina after a distraction from the tank missile coming. Shotzi shoots it. Like, okay. You're allowed to bring a tank to ringside. Like, whatever. First of all, like, Tegan Knox, can they get a plainer looking girl? Can they get a girl that screams more indie than Tegan Knox? Can she be... I mean, like, seriously, Tegan Knox is like the female equivalent of Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish. Holy, I mean, honestly, like, she's bland looking. In certain ways, she looks similar to Sonya Deville with the ponytail. Plainest ring attire ever. You know, we got shot. It doesn't make any sense that Shotzi would be hanging out with her. The girl loaded with tattoos, the rocker girl with the colorful hair, and Tegan Knox with the plain hair, the plain attire, the plain everything. The plain Jane defeats Tamina, the daughter of Superfly Jimmy Snuka. Whatever. So they mentioned that Natalya is out for a few weeks due to an injury. So this is the great type of content I guess we'll get in the meantime. I guess she'll wrestle Shotzi next week until Natalya gets back. Then Zelena is backstage talking to Scrap Heap Adam Pearce, and speaking of Sonya Deville, here she is. They finally show up backstage. So they're out there with a big contract signing. Matches are being made in the opening, and they're nowhere to be found. They're just backstage. I don't know what they're doing. They're eating Cheetos. Speaking of Cheetos, where the hell was Kevin Owens? Where was he on this show? You didn't even see him. Not Cesaro. He wasn't there either. Like, wow. A lot of weird omissions from the show. Like, where are these people? Not that I really care, but Vega's backstage, and, you know, she's complaining, just like Liv Morgan was. Now Liv Morgan's not on the show either. Did she get injured in Money in the Bank? Because have we seen her since then? I don't think we did. Maybe we did. Was she there the week after? I don't know. Anyway, who can keep track of all these things? Who cares, right? But here I am asking the question. I'm just a little curious. But anyway, so we've got Zelena Vega, you know, talking about title opportunities. So Adam Pearce tells her that if she can defeat Bianca Belair tonight, then she will be able to face the winner of Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. And if that prospect, that idea is exciting to you, then, like, okay, wow, you'll probably get excited by anything that this company does then. Wow! You mean if she wins tonight, I can't wait for that match! Zelena Vega! Okay, like, first, she has not won a single match since she's been back. So are we really going to believe that she's even going to beat Bianca Belair tonight? And that she would get the honor of facing the winner of, like, their two top women? I do not get that at all. Okay, we got Edge cutting a promo in the ring, and we've got Rollins, who they originally told us he's not going to be there, and I originally said, well, that's like bullshit. Like, I'm like, where is everyone on this show? They all not show up to work? I don't know, unless maybe some of these guys got COVID. I don't know. Like, that's the reason why they're keeping them up. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, this was actually a pretty good exchange between Edge and Rollins. I like how they got, like, Edge to get one over on Rollins, and Rollins being visibly frustrated and finally showing some intensity and lashing out. Like, I've noticed something. Edge is bringing out the best in Rollins. And if that's the case, I really hope we see more of Edge doing strong interactions here with Rollins, because it's about time that this guy cut a decent promo. And I've been saying that in the recent weeks. Last week, not so great. Week before that, pretty good. The guy is embracing this character. He went back to calling himself the Architect, and you know, I kind of liked how he called him. He says, oh, you know, you're the Messiah. You're like the preacher. And I liked how Rollins went, hallelujah. Very natural and organic stuff. And him kind of laughing with the smile sarcastically. I enjoyed this little segment. I thought it was pretty decent. And I think it came across pretty well. Both guys look pretty good. I mean, but this is what you get from an Edge promo. You guys see what I'm talking about? How Edge is just miles ahead, where when he's involved, just everybody around him benefits. This is just a testament to the era he's from. This guy, like, has been involved in some of the greatest moments of all time. And, it shows. I mean, this is a guy that, like, seriously, like, kind of needs to be there at this point. Because without him, we'd still be having the same old Rollins. And I'd be here saying it sucked. But instead, I'm here saying it was good. Because Edge. And I'm not surprised. Balor is backstage cutting a promo. He says he wants to get revenge on Corbin. They're going to have a match tonight. Obviously, we know Corbin's going to lose. And he says after that, he's going to go after Cena. I got to admit, I don't hate Balor as much since he's been back. I don't know what it is. It's been a while since he's been gone and everything. I think it's like after seeing so many other, like, just complete jokes and seeing AEW and everything, at least Balor is in great shape. At least, Balor actually, like I said, is in good shape. And I could somewhat believe that he could, like, hurt another person to a certain degree. He still doesn't look like, a big star, but compared to, like, almost everybody that they released this week from NXT, Balor is better than all those people, at least. So, there's that. It's just, I have a lot of problems with this guy's style, and just, there's still a lot. I still don't really like the guy, but I don't hate him like I used to. I kind of reassessed the whole Finn Balor situation, and I'm not putting the guy over, but I'm also not burying him either. Up next, we had the Street Profits defeating the Dirty Dogs. And I noticed they haven't even been calling the Dirty Dogs. Now they're just back to Ziggler and Rude. I noticed that a lot of times they do this as of like, where they'll give the team a name and they sort of don't always refer. Like, remember the Bloodline? They brought that back. That was something that they would go back and forth with for years. I think since like 2015 or so, 2016, when the Usos would team up with Roman Reigns, and they'd go back and forth, but they weren't sure they wanted to sell on that name. Like, what is it that they have these problems with, like, committing to a tag team's name? It's kind of weird. Anyway, they've taken away Ziggler's music, and I don't know if this is just supposed to be the Dirty Dogs theme music, or now it's just Dolph Ziggler's music. But now they're using Def Rebel, and I have not had a chance to talk about this, but you guys know I've talked extensively. I'm a big Jim Johnson fan. I'm a WWE wrestling theme junkie. I have a playlist that I have on Spotify with like my own downloaded songs, production music, and just all different from all different albums and all that. Like, even some of Dale Oliver's stuff from TNA, from Impact. There's some great wrestling theme music out there. Even there's a lot of themes that I like from CFO that I really enjoy, like Jack Swagger's theme. Even Finn Balor's music is good. There's a lot of very good themes from like all different ones, but Jim Johnson obviously takes the cake. This Def Rebel, their themes are just fucking horrendous. These guys, they write themes, and it's like they look at these wrestlers and they're just like, let's just write something generic. Like, there's no thought or anything like that to it. CFO was kind of like that, but you could like sort of see where they came from. Like, for example, let's take something that was more recent, like Eric Young, like Sanity. I was playing WWE 2K19, was looking at his entrance, listening to the music from CFO, and I'm like, okay, well, that theme kind of makes sense. Like the way his entrance was, the music kind of fit. So I was like, okay, so I could kind of see that theme. So CFO kind of had that. Jack Swagger was more patriotic, so they gave him a more patriotic sounding theme. Did CFO. So like, yeah, it made sense. Def Rebel, like, you know, Dolph Ziggler had a really good theme song that Jim Johnston composed for him, that Downstraight performed. And this theme right here, this is just like what the fuck is it supposed to be? It doesn't fit either guy. I mean, like, what? Like, man, they got rid of CFO. They got rid of Jim Johnston to get Def Rebel. Like, I say hire Dale Oliver from TNA if he's not doing anything, because that guy at least knows how to compose themes. He might have, like, ripped off some things, but I mean, like, AJ's theme, I Am, there's Jeff Jarrett's theme. Like, he made some good theme music. You could go back and you could look, like, some of it is really good. So, I don't, but, you know, I don't know, maybe because it was TNA, or maybe he doesn't want to work for them. I don't know. But anyway, this match right here, totally worthless. Nothing to this match. Like, this is the first time that they've been back together since, you know, Otis, like, destroyed both of these guys. And just noticed Otis and Chad Gable also not on the show. No Carmella. None of these people, like I said, no Owens, no Cesaro, Sami Zayn we haven't seen. Like, where are all these people? Where are all these guys? And, like, some of them, like Sami Zayn, are like, were kind of pivotal to the enjoyment of the show. They're not there. So this is just a drab match. Street Profits go over. Okay. Bianca Belair defeats Zelena Vega, even with the distraction from Sasha Banks. Not a terrible match. Not a great one either. Super predictable finish. Zelena Vega loses again. They talk about Zelena Vega being on vacation. Yeah, she was definitely on a vacation. At one time, it was going to be a permanent vacation. Okay, anyway, we go to the main event, and we got Finn Balor defeating Baron Corbin. And, you know, the thing that was disappointing about this, it was just basically a quick squash match. Corbin begs for mercy. He says, you know, he just try to see where he's coming from. He apologized to them, says, please help me out. He's asking him for money. Why were there no skits with Corbin? And, like, okay, this doesn't really make sense to me. Before the match even goes on, we see Roman Reigns. 15 minutes before the show was about to end, they waited all that time to show us Roman Reigns. We saw the Usos before we saw Roman Reigns. They didn't even show us Roman Reigns backstage. Why was it during the Thunderdome era we saw Roman Reigns all the time, and now we're not even getting that? So anyway, Balor beats Corbin. Roman comes out, and Balor is telling him to get into the ring, but the Usos jump him. Somehow Balor manages to overpower both of them, which that's bullshit. Like, seriously, Balor of all people is outdoing the Usos? Seriously? Like, okay, that's one thing for Edge to do. We didn't even really see, like, Edge even being able to contend with both of them without some help from, like, Mysterio and Dominic, right? Okay, so with that in mind, then Roman gets in the ring, and this is just an endless beatdown. And we've got Balor, who's a babyface, and no one's coming out to save him. Like, talk about dragged out and just like, okay, you know, let's get to the end already. And Cena wasn't there. They said that Cena wasn't there. That's your show. I mean, you know, really, like, disappointing. There were some strong moments here, like the Edge promo, the Big E moment, but like a lot of this stuff that was positive was like really short and unfulfilling, and tons of people missing from the show, and Roman, you don't get a Roman promo, no cuts to Roman backstage. Like, what were they doing on this show? Honestly, like, just so much weirdness on here. You know, the illusion that Zelena Vega could beat Bianca Belair is just, we're opening the show with her. Like, okay. just so strange in so many ways. Like, we have time to do the Street Profits and the Dirty Dogs in a worthless cold match, but like, we don't have time for a Roman promo or check in to see what's going on with Sami Zayn. Like I said, unless these people are sick, I don't know. You know, that's the thing. If like they get COVID, they'll like pull them off the show immediately. So I don't know, but it remains to be seen. But anyway, guys, let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all notifications when I post all my new videos. I want to thank all my patrons for your continued support. And thanks again, guys. I'll see you next time.